Hello, folks, and welcome to the Internet Business School surgery session today with myself, Roger Norris from the Internet Business School. I'm the school's business manager and general do everything manager, and particularly with reference to everything to do with AI, artificial intelligence. I've been at it since it sort of came out as ChatGPT in November 2022. We run our AI Insiders Club and do lots of training on it. And I spend pretty much all of my day using AI tools and answering messages for the business. Okay, so I'm kind of a bit of a dab hand, I think, of what's going on with AI. And I like looking for ways to use AI to make our lives quicker and simpler and easier and better. So that's kind of my usage of AI, to save time and get a better result and give me more time to do all the other things which I need to do. So I'm kind of use it as almost like an augmented professional to improve my life. And hopefully we can pass on some of those skills to you. Now, last week, Vish was on and he was talking about building an AI conversational bot. And he showed you through all of the process. And if you haven't watched that video, it's the one just before this on the YouTube channel, Ultimate Business System, where we've got all of our replay videos. And I had a look through the video. I was sort of following along with what Vish was doing. He's doing a great job of showing you how to set up and build and publish an AI bot. And there was one sort of section there afterwards. We got a couple of questions from people who were asking about, how to build knowledge bases, because they're the thing that drive the AI bot, the conversational bots, and give it the sort of training and instruction that it needs to be effective. And it's something I've done in the past, building knowledge bases, and I use a kind of like an AI approach to it. So I'm going to show you how that all works. And at the end of the day, I've got a couple of prompts that I use that I'm going to give to you. Okay, so later on, there'll be a couple of QR codes that come up on screen, and you'll be able to download the exact prompts that I use to build knowledge bases and also to build the prompt instructions, okay, for the chatbot. And it will make your life so much easier. Okay, so when we're thinking about the chatbots that Vish was building last week, okay, he set up kind of like a chatbot out the front, okay, this is the chatbot interface that a customer would talk through, but the chatbot interface is only doing a very small portion of the work. It's the knowledge base behind the scenes that provides all the power. Okay, and that's the critical part to building a really good chatbot. And things when people are building these chatbots, they tend to sort of focus on the bot side itself rather than so much on the knowledge we give it. Okay, they might sort of focus on the kind of like the personality, the clever responses, etc. But this bot is just kind of like the front door to this knowledge. So we need to spend actually more time on building this knowledge to get a more effective responses out of the bot we're going to build. So it's kind of like, if you think about it, if you employed a new receptionist, say, on a Monday morning and told them nothing about your business, okay, they'd be pretty useless from day one. They might be good at smiling and giving some basic made up answers, but they wouldn't have all of the clever information about your business. Okay, so it's this knowledge base is almost like their training manual. Okay, so we're going to sort of focus on that today about how we're going to build them. Because when we've got a properly built knowledge base, it doesn't just make the chatbot work well, it actually makes the whole of your business, your online business, it makes it tighter. Because this bot, if you're building it for your business or for a client's business, okay, it's going to be always on. Okay, it's going to be there at sort of 2 o'clock in the morning for random questions, bank holidays, when you're busy with other people. Okay. And it's going to have, if we build it right, it's going to have all the um, confirmed answers to the questions that a customer might reliably have about your business. Okay. So there won't be sort of there'll be standard answers. So you won't have like two different members of staff giving two different, slightly different answers to people. Okay. We can make sure that this knowledge base is consistent with exactly how you as a business owner wants to portray the information across to customers. And I say once you've built it, you can also use that knowledge base to train your staff as well. So it has lots of different ways of working for you. We can set it up so it captures leads, protects you from malicious, competition trying to, cause trouble for you or customers causing trouble for you. Built right, it can protect you from all those sort of things. Right. So it's a really sort of powerful, important thing to get right. Now, in the old days when we were building knowledge bases, they kind of evolved over time. You might sort of start with a lot of websites have a sort of FAQ section, which has got sort of 10 or 20 or a few more different bits of information that they think customers might ask. And that's one area that a knowledge base comes from. Standard operating procedures, tone of voice, edge cases, formats for the bot. All these things were things that were sort of left a little bit underdeveloped. And it made the sort of first bots pretty average. But as AI is improved, and the understanding of how people like to use these sort of chatbots, then our ability to sort of set up and almost sort of program these bots using these knowledge bases has got so much better. Okay, so it's worth investing the time to get this right. Um, because if you get it wrong, you can leave all sorts of gaps in that knowledge base. Now, this is especially important when you're dealing with a client. Building a knowledge base for your own business is a little bit easier because you kind of know all the answers to the questions, or at least you think you know all the answers to the questions. When you're dealing with another client, they've got all that knowledge, okay, and you've got to try and tease that out of them to get into a knowledge base, and it's too easy to miss things. Okay, to miss things that a business owner that you're working for just has almost like assumed knowledge. Oh God, I didn't tell you that because it's obvious. Okay, we tend to have questions in our knowledge base that cover those obvious questions that customers sometimes ask. Right. So doing it manually, things get missed, and it's not ever as good as running this through an AI lens, which looks at things in a lot of extra detail. Okay, we want to try and avoid this scenario where you're sitting down with a business owner and they've got all this disorganized information, and you've got to try and sort of make sense of it and build a knowledge base from scratch. And it's a real tiresome process because if you don't know their business, you don't know the questions to ask really, and the business owner, I say, is going to assume some of that knowledge. Okay, so it's a bit of a tricky process. So if we introduce AI into the process, I'll show you with the prompts that I use. We can use them to extract the critical information from documents and websites. We can actually use AI to set up an interview process with a business owner. to get all the juicy bits of information that they may not have thought about that needs to be inside a knowledge base. And we can also use AI to sort of research behind the scenes of any other bits of information that might be missing from your knowledge base. Okay, so it's really powerful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this process works. I'll do it on a live business. Okay, I'm going to do it on our own self-storage business that we have for Simon owns a couple of self-storage businesses down in Folkestone, okay, which is Southeast Storage. That's on the south coast of the UK. For any of you out of towners. And I say we've got two sites down there, and we run it off this single website here, southeaststorage.co.uk. And on this site, we've got the two different storage sites. We've got one in Rossway and our Seaview storage site also in Folkestone. And you can click through here and you can see all the different storage units we've got available, and people can book through here as well. Okay, so there's lots and lots of different information. Okay, there's little sort of calculator links on here as well, so you can work out what sort of size storage unit you might need. Uh, and then at the footers of each page, there's sort of about sections. And then we have things like insurance details and our terms, etc. Okay, so lots and lots of information on this site. Which is a good starting place for a chatbot. But what we don't have on this site at the moment is an actual chatbot widget. Okay, so this is going to be a real process. I'm not going to be able to put the chatbot widget directly on this site today, okay, because it runs on a slightly different software. But what I'm doing today is I'm preparing for this eventuality to put a chatbot widget directly on this live site. Okay, does that all make sense? Okay, have we got any questions so far? Are you kind of like following the thinking about the importance of knowledge bases? Um, because it was kind of tricky last week that Vish was going through a lot of extra detail, and he didn't have enough time to delve into that sort of extra nuance about knowledge bases. He talked about using knowledge bases to sort of scrape a website and maybe to upload a document or two. But I'm going to show you it can be a little bit more than that. Okay, so this is our live site. Now, first off, my first job, okay, is to build a knowledge base. And to do that, I built my own prompt, which is called Dossier. And its instruction is to help build out knowledge bases for any particular business or organization. Okay. And all you do is once I give you the prompt, you'll be able to download it and you upload it into an AI chat. So in this instance, I've been using Claude. And I just said, do you know what? I want to build a knowledge base for my business and then give it the website address. Okay. And it then goes through and asks me a load of questions. So I'm going to show you the process. I've done it all in advance, okay, because I've probably spent about 45 minutes to an hour running through this process. Okay. And right from the off, all it wants to know is, right, what's the knowledge base for? So is it an AI system? Which platform it's going to run on? And how you are getting some of the information for this knowledge base. Is it coming from documents, Q&A interviews, online research, or a hybrid, a mix of everything? Okay. So I prefer to use that sort of hybrid route, depending on sort of what information you've got to feed into your knowledge base. But the hybrid route sort of covers every eventuality. Okay. And then it will ask for sort of output format, the business description in one paragraph, and priority domains is anything urgent. Okay. Now, to set this going, I just answered those questions really quickly. So just saying it's an inquiry web chatbot for a website. It's going to be put on Go High Level, which is the ultimate business system, using the hybrid method. And I chose the output format as FAQ pairs and chunk documents. Business description in one paragraph, just take it off the website, and nothing really of priority. Okay, so I didn't have to do much thinking to answer those questions. And it says, right, no problem at all. And it runs through the whole of the website, picks up a load of that information, and basically says, right, what we're going to do is we're going to get some snippets to build this whole knowledge base. And every now and again, it's going to ask me some different questions, and there'll be some little flags on some of these extra snippets just for me to go through manually and verify them. Okay, so once everything's sort of confirmed by the business owner. Okay, so it's a real simple process. So first off, it starts by looking at the core services of the actual domain, what our business is, and it writes a Q&A based on that. So, what does Southeast Storage offer? Bang, and it's pulled off information from the website and written an answer. And it's also popped in an escalation trigger. Okay, so if a customer asks about a specific unit size or office space that's not visible on a live availability sheet, what should it do? Okay, so it pulls out all that information from the website, what makes our sites different, who's this for, okay, and then it starts flagging up some gaps, okay, and it asks me some questions. So we've said, do we claim it's the best price in Folkestone? Do you want the bot to repeat that verbatim or soften it? Any restricted item lists, the business commercial storage, one line voice guidance for the bot. Okay, so it's asking specific questions to me, or you could use this with a business owner and just get them to answer those sort of 4 at a time. Okay, so again, I didn't have to do much of an answer here. Bang, keep it nice and simple. I told it to read the terms page as well, because that would give it a load of information that it could use for the knowledge base. And then it sort of revises those snippets. Okay. And then it starts asking me more questions about pricing and packaging, how the pricing structure works. And all the time, it's just building up these Q&A responses. So I'm getting AI to do all the work. It asked me about price lists and do the bots stay price shy on surf on purpose? Any current offers, discounts, and promotions? Okay, so I gave it a spreadsheet detail and gave it the answers to all of that. So I'm steadily building up this AI conversation knowledge so it understands my business in a strategic way and the way that a customer might use it. Okay, so this process continued. We don't need to show too much of it. Okay, it's creating these snippets all the time. Let's just skip through. It asks about padlocks and insurance and what if I need to do to get a bigger unit or a smaller unit. So it's thinking about all the questions a customer who's new to the business might justifiably ask. Right, so I gave it some information about how we check people into the units with self-check-in. So I gave it the sort of template of an email, so if someone wants to know the check-in process, the AI's got that information locked in. Oh, and it's got a couple of video links as well. Although one of the video links I had to tell it to say, forget about that. I don't want to tell people who are making inquiries on the website where our lock boxes are, where people pick up their key fobs from. Right. So it uses that information and revises all these sort of triggers. Okay. And we're steadily building things up. Site access hours, office and support hours. How long can I store for? Site security. Right. And yeah, I'm just answering small snippets of information to help build up the process. And it's taking some of that information, feeding it through, and correcting some of these answers that it may have slightly inferred. Okay, so I make sure when I'm building this, I read every one of these really carefully, because if there's anything wrong inside your Q&A knowledge base, that's going to leak out in answers to your customers. Okay, so it's well worth taking the time to make sure this is super locked down and matches everything that you do in your business or your client's business. Okay. Um, so we kept on going, vehicle access, ground floor versus first floor access, using lifts, um, climate, condensation, shipping containers, all sorts of stuff. Right. And we'll just skip on through some more. I just gave a little bit of an answer here. Okay, so again, I'm not doing a huge amount of work apart from reading and handing across a few words of my wisdom to the AI. And we got that has a bit more here. It did some corrections on these snippets. It's keeping everything organized. Okay, so it's given everything a sort of a numbered title, so it can keep things in order. Okay, and then I think we're various. Oh, look, we've still got another few stages that I went through. Okay, how to contact us, how to book, when you'll hear about us. We got to section 9. Sorry, let me just skip through to the end. Okay, so once it gets to the end of all 10 sections of this report, what it does is it then looks for knowledge gap report. And it's given an option of an agent handover brief. So the way to architecture this inside of Go High Level, and then a compiled output. So it's going to output all the FAQ pairs and chunk documents formatted for the platform. Okay. So it went through and looked at those that full report that it had built, and it said there aren't really any major priority gaps. Okay, because we'd been really effective in this conversation, this questioning that AI had done for of me. It had covered all the bases. Okay, it said that we could build up later some bit more information about the sizing rule of thumb for units that people say, because I quite often get phoned up by people saying, "Oh, I'm moving from a two-bedroom house. What size storage do I need?" And I'm going, "Oh, I don't know. It depends what type of furniture you've got, what you want to put into your units. You know, if you've got three double sofas and four double beds that don't come down, and fridges and freezers and everything like that that don't stack on top of each other, then it's going to be tricky for me to tell you need 100 square feet or 150 square feet of storage. Okay, so we kind of shy away from being deliberate about that in our answers, because it's kind of like it depends. It depends what you've got and how well you can box things up and stack things. Okay, but anyway, it helped me fill out all of these sort of missing bits that could be a little bit better. Um, and it had some other bits that it wanted me to just sort of consider as next steps. With it being built in Go High Level, Ultimate Business System, I've it kind of understood the format of this knowledge base it needed to. And we could actually, if we had time, we could go in and build up whole sort of automation flows, so that we could get the bot to offer to send people the live availability list, or to if it just gets their name and email, we can set up a workflow that triggers the customer being sent an email or a text message with the extra information that they wanted just from the conversations they had with the bot. Okay, so it's something you can build up these sort of agentic operations with inside the chatbot. Okay, but at the moment we're sort of focusing on getting the chatbot talking correctly. Okay, and it also learns from that conversation. It starts detailing what the knowledge base contains, what platform it's formatted on, the recommended agent structure. Okay, so the bot is trying to get people to book units for me. It's trying to convert them and give people helpful information. Okay. Um, but it also knows what the scope that it's allowed to do. It's inferred of the things that it shouldn't ever do. It shouldn't ever share the key safe video. It should never quote specific monthly or weekly prices in chat, basically because prices sometimes flex. Um, the price is what is on the booking link that they go to. Never confirm availability of a specific unit number. Never name, compare, or disparage competitors. Never invent or generalize on restricted items, legal interpretation, insurance issues. Um, Never claim the best prices in Folkestone, but just use very competitive Folkestone prices. We are the best prices, but you've got to be a little bit careful. It picks up a sort of a tone calibration. It even gave me some suggested tags to use in those workflows that I talked about as well. So a really useful output. Okay. And literally it just said, right, I've got all that. Should we get it ready to produce the full knowledge base? And he said, yeah, go for it. And essentially it then built out the entire knowledge base for me into a single document in one go. So yeah, about 45 minutes of work and conversation with this AI, and I've got this is the knowledge base that it produced. Okay, and it's got the system rules to apply to every conversation, um, confidential content, the pricing discipline. Okay, so it's written in a way that an AI bot is going to understand when it's reading through a knowledge base. It's like, right, don't do this. And if someone asks these questions, okay, these are going to be your answers. All right. All beautifully written out with sort of escalation and guardrails built into it. Okay. And if we sat down and wrote this type of document from scratch, it would take hours and we would miss a load of stuff. But doing it this way, 45 minutes. And I think, yeah, it gets to 21 pages on here. And it's just, I've just saved hours. And I've also built it so that when customers are using that chatbot with this knowledge base in it, it's going to give them all the correct answers that I need. Okay. Now, what I would have do first before I launch this, I would go through this again with a fine tooth comb. Okay. I would invest in time just to read every single question and answer. Okay. Just to make sure it was exactly right and nothing had slipped through in that process of building. Okay. So don't always assume that the AI content is absolutely perfect. You still need to go through and do your bit of work on it. Okay. Right. So a real simple way of doing that knowledge base. Okay. It's got 9 system rules, 51 FAQ pairs across 9 clusters and 18 chunk documents. Okay. All written in here. Cool. Okay, so do you reckon you could do that? I know Julie has said there's no way I could set this up for myself. Do you have a department that does this? Okay, this is just with this prompt, Julie, and AI. Okay, you could do this. And following through on the videos from last week and this week, you could absolutely do this. Promise you. Okay, as long as you know about your business, or you're sitting down and doing this build with your client. So if you were making a chatbot for someone else, you can do this process with them. Okay, right. I promise you. Okay, so let us have a look. Someone mentioned, oh, they're cool. That's cool. But let's have the prompt, shall we? Right. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay. I've done it this way so that it works well for the YouTube video. Okay. So if you hold your phone up and use the camera, you should be able to read that QR code and it will download the dossier prompt to your device. Okay. And then you can just however you want to spread it across to a desktop or a laptop, whatever, email it to yourself, go ahead. Okay. Um, so if you're interested, just tell me you've managed to get that, or if anyone needs a little bit more time, um, then let me know. Okay. Stick a 2 in the chat if you haven't managed it yet, or if you want to catch up later. So with catch up later, you can go to the YouTube video, just pause the video, and make sure you grab this prompt from there. Okay, I'll show them at the end as well. Okay, but that is the first one. That is dossier. Okay, now let's show you how that works. Okay, now what I've done is I followed Vish's training last week, and I've built myself inside our Southeast Storage sub account of the Ultimate Business System. Okay, I've built an Amy Online chatbot. Okay. Now, the reason I've called it Amy is actually for our business on our telephone lines, we have a conversation, we have a voice agent that Simon had built like a year ago. And Amy answers all our phone inquiries and does her very best. She's got a knowledge base that we've put into her as well. And we've had to adjust her over time because every time someone phones up out of hours and speaks with Amy, I get emailed a transcript of what she says. Okay, and sometimes she does really well, and sometimes she just says things that's like, "Oh no, that's not right." Okay, and then I have to go back into her knowledge base and go, "Okay, let me tweak that and add some extra information into her." And that's kind of how other knowledge bases evolve over time. So even when you've finished building your AI agent using that dossier prompt, you've still got to go through and look at how people, what questions people ask, and actually, I'll show you later that Go High Level will start flagging up any gaps in your knowledge base based on the interactions that people have had with your bot. Okay, so keeping that knowledge base up to date is really important. You know, especially if you launch a new product or you change the way you do things. Yeah, everyone goes through and updates their website, things like that, and their marketing, but people forget to go back and update their knowledge bases. Really important. Okay, but yeah, here's Amy Online. And I built her in the same way from scratch that Vish worked out. So I've got some knowledge-based triggers in here. So I've got options for her to send emails that I can build in later. Okay. Now, at the moment, I've left Amy Online with the default system prompt. Okay. That Ultimate Business System puts in here. Okay. And we're going to come and back and edit this later. Okay. because a fantastic knowledge base is all good, but if we have a bit of a rubbish basic system prompt, then that's going to affect how the chatbot operates. Okay, so everything else I kind of left as the standard, and at the moment it's got one knowledge base in here, which is Southeast Storage version 1. Okay, so Southeast Storage version 1. So I've built 3 versions of the knowledge base, and basically I'm going to show you how they work, and we'll see what difference it makes with the questions with the bot. Okay, so Southeast Storage version 1 is the real simple one. It was a web crawler one. Okay, because remember when Vish was saying he built knowledge bases just by giving the website address and getting AI to crawl that website. Okay, and that's the simplest way of building or getting the start of a knowledge base. Okay, but if you do it wrong, okay, and if you just put in this web address here, okay, all it does, if you don't do the settings right, is it looks at the front page of a website and ignores all the other pages. Okay, um, so actually, if I so the first time I did it, okay, it's just got the front page of the website, nothing about the terms and insurance and everything like that. So this would be highly ineffective. Okay. So if we just did a test the knowledge base, go tell me about CPU storage. Okay. It doesn't have any particular information about CView storage from that first page. Okay, so this is just a test retrieval from the knowledge base. It's not the sort of full bot version of it. Okay, let me just get rid of that a minute. So that's the first easy mistake to make. When you're doing with the full web crawl, okay, there is an option to click it across to pick up all the pages of that website. Okay, so when I set it up correctly, it then trained itself on all 44 pages of the site. Okay, perhaps I'll show you how that works just in case. Okay, so if I just go for this web crawl a bit and delete that URL. Okay, let me just take the website URL here and in here. Okay, we add a website and drop that in here. But what we need to do is in this box, we need to either drop in all URLs in this path or all URLs in this domain. Okay, with my simple website, everything, all URLs in this domain is enough. Okay, that picks up everything at southeaststorage.co.uk, which picks up all 44 pages, and you just click that button to select all of them. Okay, or if there were pages on here that you didn't want to train your chatbot on, you just untick them. Okay, nice and simple. So it's a simple error that people can make, but it doesn't have uh, the resulted knowledge that goes into that knowledge base. Okay, so let's just have a look. We've got version 2, okay, which has got the full web crawl in it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go across to Amy online here, and we'll just edit her. And where's her knowledge base? Oh, actually, I think I just need to do it somewhere else. Where do I do edit Amy? There we are. Edit it here. Uh, Okay, let's delete that knowledge base trigger. Okay, and I think this is right. Select the knowledge base. There we are, version 2. Okay, so I've just swapped out that knowledge base, and then very important up here, there's the save button. Okay, and then we just need to test her. A test button. Ba, ba, ba. Should we open it in a new tab? I can't remember if that works. No, that's not going to work. Okay, there we are. AI bot trial. There we are. Okay, so she's set up, ready to test. Okay, so we've got the option to test your bot. Okay, so now Amy's been trained on everything on the website. Okay, um, so well, so I can say, what size unit do I need for a 2-bedroom house, and see how she deals with that. Okay, she's got that little bit of extra thinking time. I think I set this up to go on GPT 5. It says, right, it's a typical 2-bedroom house, go for about 95 to 103 square feet. If you've got fewer items, 64 to 80 feet can work. Want to list contents. Well, okay, that's probably not the best way of going around trying to work out the sizes of a unit. Okay. And what it doesn't know about is it doesn't know about the calculator links on our pages. Okay, so it hasn't said, oh, you can use our special links to work out what size you might need. Okay, it's just given it's basically picked up some information online and said, right, these are the typical amounts of sizes that you need for your house. Might be wrong. Okay, your 2-bedroom house might be, you might be a hoarder, or you might be a minimalist. Okay, so that's where this sort of just pure website scrape might just fall down. How do I check in for the first time? Okay, stuff that might not necessarily be on the website. Okay. Just while this is doing it, okay, so for the first time, book your space online, then access the gated site with a fob-controlled entry. And there's the, okay, so it doesn't give them the full information from the website. Right? So it's better with the full scrape of information, but if we then go back to our bot training, and if we get rid of that one, we're going to add this new knowledge base, okay, which is this new knowledge base has got the full website scrape, and it's got our knowledge base that we built. Okay, so it's got that knowledge base Q&A pairs. Right, and we're going to see how that works. Bot updated successfully. Okay, what I'm just going to do before this works is I'm just going to refresh this page. Okay, just to make sure that that new knowledge base clicks in. Okay. And here, let's just try again. How much space do I need for a 2-bedroom house? Let's hope it gives some more nuanced answers. That's our hope anyway. Hopefully it should point us towards that sort of calculated look. Okay, no, I wonder if this has actually picked it up, because it shouldn't have done that. Okay, It's giving the same answers as before. How do I check in? All part of the testing to make sure that your linkages works. Yeah, see, that's okay. That's not great, is it? Okay. Now, there's one possibility, well, it's actually two possibilities. One is it hasn't actually fully updated this version 3. Okay, so let me just double check that I did that correctly. Oh no, look, I just set it up as the web crawl. I didn't actually yet set in the extra document. I was going to do that online. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in that knowledge base. That'll be it, and put in there. Okay, so let's just get that one there. Okay, right. Okay, not a problem. I see what's going on. Okay, so we're just there was a little bit of an issue there. Basically, when I upload documents into Claude, into AI, I use a file format called markdown.md, which allows most AIs to read documents much more quickly. So a PDF or a Word doc, most AIs have to then convert those into a markdown document, which takes a little bit extra time and also uses extra usage of your tokens. Okay, so with a lot of my AI stuff, I'm using Markdown, uh, but here it doesn't have the Markdown format, the .md. Right, so I can fix that. So let's just download this as a Word document. Okay, and it's this one, isn't it? Click to upload, and let's now add that big doc in there. Okay, and then that's done. We'll upload that file into the knowledge base. Okay, and it's just sort of processing that at the moment. Okay. And then it will train on there. So at the moment, it's extracting everything from that document. Okay, a couple of questions came in. While we're waiting for that to happen, Michael says, "Hi Roger, quick question. Does the LLM model we use make a huge difference to the outcome? I have a paid version of Perplexity, and I'm thinking that may well perform better than my free version of Claude. Your thoughts?" Okay, Perplexity is a good model for mainly for sort of research and detail. I understand. I don't really use Perplexity that much myself. Okay, but you could quite happily run these prompts inside of free Claude, free Gemini, free ChatGPT. Sometimes Gemini is a little bit funny with my prompts, but ChatGPT or Claude would follow them no problem at all. Okay, it's always one of those questions at the moment, which is the best AI model to have your subscription with, and it kind of depends on your own preferences. Okay, at the moment, I'm very much a Claude person. Claude is great. I'm on a max plan now, so about 80 or 90 pounds a month, but I just spend all day on it, getting stuff done, and I like the quality of work that it does, and the quality of writing, and the depth of thought it has in difficult processes. It's really good. And then you've got things like Claude Code and computer work and co-works and stuff. It's really good if you're building stuff more substantial. It doesn't really do pictures. That's fine. It doesn't do video. But then I have ChatGPT or Gemini to do that. Okay, so it kind of depends what sort of work you're doing with it. Okay. And Mark says, where it says AI bot, you presume you can change that name? Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Um, so we've now uploaded that extra file into the knowledge base. Okay, so let's just go back to conversations AI, my agents list. Okay, so I called this one, I've called this one Amy Online because it's going to be um, a version of Amy who answers our telephone, and this is going to be the Amy that answers questions on the website. Okay, um, so that's where she's in there. Go to bot trial. Let's have a little look. Okay. Right, so let's just try sending these queries again and see if that makes a difference. Please, for the sake of the video, let's hope that it makes a difference. Okay, right, doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the other reason why this might not be firing across yet. Okay, let's just double check this response. How do I check in? And it's actually it's an issue with the system prompt. Right. So we're going to fix that next. Let's just double check that one. See if some of that information has pulled across. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you what the problem is. Okay. In this system prompt that it built, it gave a rough personality. You are a bot for AI business name, tasked to assist customers. You cannot help with appointment bookings, appointment cancellations, rescheduling. Politely let you know the customer you cannot help them with appointments. Well, that's no good for us if we want people to make bookings. Your goal is to assist the customers with their queries. And then in the additional information bit, okay, it says something about um, keep your responses brief, around 20 to 25 words. Okay. Now, with the wiki that I've produced, a lot of those answers are a lot more than 25 words. So it's, the check-in process is going to be more than 25 words. It hasn't given enough breathing space to work properly. Okay. So our next job is to quickly fix this system prompt. Okay. I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, notice it's set up in 3 bits. It's given a personality, a goal, and additional information. Okay, so this is when we reach for our AI again, and a new prompt that I'm going to give you called directive. Okay, and literally all I've done in this conversation is I've uploaded that knowledge base and I've uploaded the this directive prompt, and its job is to make those system prompts, right? And to make them more effective. Right? So basically, it knew straight away that I'd done the knowledge base, so that covered a lot of the information it needed. And literally, all it needed to know is, right, what platform are we building this for? What's the primary purpose of the chatbot? And what does success look like? Okay, so basically, I told him we're building this for Go High Level conversational AI chatbot. I've said note that Go High Level system prompt format is built in 3 sections: personality, goal, additional information. Okay, and the chatbot's prime aim is to nurture leads for storage and try to convert to bookings and to give helpful answers based on the knowledge base. And I want it to answer all questions successfully where possible and provide lead nurturing options where relevant. Okay, so those are my 3 focuses for the bot. Okay, and it says, great, I've read the full knowledge base. It's unusually complete, and it changes how we proceed. It's really complete because we've spent a lot of time building it up very carefully using AI. Okay, so it's got information about boundaries and guardrails, knowledge and scope. Just a couple of small gaps that it wants to know. Knowledge ingestion. Is section B FAQ and section C chunks being loaded into Go High Level's knowledge base as a retrievable content the bot draws on, or does the prompt need to carry the core facts? Okay, so no, the KB is uploaded into the bot. Okay, it doesn't need to be in the system prompt. Okay. Lead capture and tagging. Can the bot apply Go High Level tags and trigger workflows itself? Or should the prompt simply instruct it to capture name and email and hand off to a downstream workflow? Okay. So we're going to hand off to downstream, as I haven't yet built this functionality. The functionality. Okay. And persona. Your out of hours phone is Amy. Should this web be called Amy as well? So 3, yes, for the as far as customer concerned, it's just Amy. Yes, call the bot Amy. Okay. Answer those 4. Where's 4? Oh, 3. Chat. Yeah, it's just going to be on the website for the moment. Okay. 3, just web chat. Okay. So simple little questions. This is where I kind of left it teed up to do those, do that output. Okay, so we'll see how this works. I've got Claude set on Opus 4.8, so there's a little bit more thinking time. Okay, and what we're at the moment, it's building that system prompt for me. Architecting the AI persona and AI disclosure. And when it's done, okay, I need to then put that into here. Okay, into these 3 different sections. And let's just see if there's a quicker way of doing it. It's just a bit annoying when it's got sort of 3 different sections like that. I seem to remember earlier I was seeing it as able to copy and paste in the whole lot in one go. Not the end of the world. Okay. Right. Claude is building that now for me, which is cool. It's just building it into a block. There's a lot more words in this than the standard prompts, isn't there? Which is great because it's going to have all that cool information that we picked up from the knowledge base. Okay, the things that we don't want to happen, and hopefully make this bot so much better. A load of information. Okay. Da, da, da. Design notes. Okay. Sometimes I have to go through and just sort of run an eye over these. Occasionally, AI likes leaving little notes for itself or explanations or commentary. And sometimes I have to tell it to say, strip out the commentary. Okay. Right. So here is the personality section. Okay. So let's just do a bit of technical copying and pasting. Got that in there. And let's just go to goal. Your job is to turn storage inquiries into bookings. A little bit more than assisting customers with their queries. And then additional information. There's going to be a lot more inside this additional information section. Yes, a lot more. Opening questions, design notes. Okay. Let's just have a look at those. Not going to bother with that last section there. That's just a reference. So let's just take here. Come on. Right. That's given. Oh, right. That's too many words. 261 words too many. Okay. It's fine. I can just go back to that prompt and say, right, there's a maximum number of words we can use. Okay, 157 too many. Okay, well, let's just do it there. Hold on. This is, what's this, section 4, it's field 3. Field 3 is too long. Condense it down to reduce by around 300 words. 300 words. Make sure there is no commentary. Hi. I say by saying there's no commentary, I'm just trying to strip out sometimes where AI leaves messages for itself in a way, rather than actually everything in here needs to be what the chatbot needs to operate successfully. Okay. So we would just run that a little bit more. Okay. That might take a little bit of time. Okay. Serious incidents, human follow-up, guardrails. Actually, let me just take out all of those. Might be easier if I make this bigger, wouldn't it? There we are. Let me just take out all of the design notes just for ease. Okay. And save that. Okay. Right. So let's have another little look at this. And what I'm going to do is go back to the beginning again, refresh this. So hopefully it locks into place a bit more. And open up Amy in a new tab and test here. Okay. I have already booked a unit. How do I check in? Okay. Please work, please work, please work. Okay. Oh. Okay, right, nice one. Which site did you book at? Ross Way is a self-check-in. Use the email code to collect your fob from the on-site lockbox and tap readers. Access 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. Sea View, assisted check-in by appointment on site, then 24/7 access. Yes, that's right. Okay. All right. So, and I notice we've also got a little bit more humanity coming through in the answers. Nice one. Okay, which is cool. Um, I have a two-bedroom house. What size unit do I need? Okay, please work, please work, please work. No pressure, is there? Just doing a live building of these things. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, yeah, that hasn't quite worked. Okay. But I could go back to, and for me, I maybe I need to go back and tweak that FAQ section, okay, to get some extra learning into the knowledge base. Okay. But I promise you, by doing this process, okay, we're going to get much better answers out of our bot. Okay, even by knowing about the self check-in, it's ahead of the game. Uh, what happens if I miss a payment? Um, okay. So once you launch a bot, okay, you have to go through and test it. You test it with your own questions to refine it, get other people to test the bot for you, and then also keep on reviewing how people interact with your bot. Okay, because you might get areas where it's fallen down that you need to go back into that knowledge base and update it. Okay, it's well worth doing that little bit of extra effort. Okay, that's all right. That's picked up all the correct information. Okay, so while we're at it, here is the second prompt. Okay, that's the directive prompt. So point at the screen, that's the one that builds the chatbot system prompt. I didn't put any guardrails in there about how many words the prompt could be. Okay, so maybe depending on the platform you're putting into, you might need to add that information separately. Okay, and that would help you. Okay, no problem, Julie. Julie's got to take her daughter skating. That's right, you can catch up with later on YouTube. That's not a problem. We're very nearly there anyway. Okay, so if you grab directive, that's good. That will help you make that chatbot. And if I'm just going to skip back one screen for anyone who missed it earlier, that is the dossier prompt to build the knowledge base. All right. That's cool. Right, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, basically once you've built those, you can keep on going through and updating this. If I just have a little bit more, just go back to the conversational AI agents. That's the agents list of Amy. That doesn't show the knowledge base bits missing. Those are all LinkedIn worked. Maybe it's just in the knowledge base section. Oh yeah, look, here we are. Southeast Storage has now got one knowledge base gap that's popped up from our questions. Right, which is under here, knowledge gaps. Guidance on recommended square footage or space requirements. Okay. Um, so we could add that answer in here. Okay, and it would just hold it inside the knowledge base. Okay, of what to do if people have asked guidance on that, because we would say, "Hey, it depends, doesn't it? But if you head to our website, there's a little links on each of the units that says how much space do I need, and use that to figure out what sort of square footage you need. Okay, so I could add that answer in there, and it fixes the issue in the knowledge base. Okay, so it's well worth coming back to the knowledge base bit and looking for that knowledge base gaps. Okay, that's the final part of the curve. Right. Yeah, so that's it for today. Okay, so if there's any more questions that I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we appreciate you being here. And between Vish's section and this section, okay, you can now build some seriously good chatbots. Okay, it just takes a little bit of time. Kevin, no problem at all. Thank you very much for being with us. And I'll see you another time. I think I'm probably on in about a month or so. If there's anything particularly you want me to cover, then do let me know. A lot of this section was built around people sending in feedback about wanting to know more about knowledge bases. Great, happy to respond. So if there's another sort of AI element that you're interested in, then let us know. Okay, and I can build it into the plans because I always sit there thinking, right, what should I do next week? I've got a webinar next week. What should I do? So it's good to have your guidance. All right, cool. So I'll leave those QR codes will be in the final video on Friday lunchtime, so that people will be able to download files. Otherwise, I will see you in probably 3 or 4 weeks. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy your work, enjoy building things with AI and making things happen. And if you've got a business, then consider signing up to Ultimate Business System. We're there to help people grow their business and move their business into a single platform that's going to save you a bundle. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time.